These dancers are working on the reconstruction of Brahms' waltzes, a dance composed by Charles Weidman in 1961. Beatrice Seckler and Lee Sherman, members of the original Humphrey Weidman Company, and Janet Towner, who danced with Weidman in his later years, are helping younger dancers understand and capture the spirit of his movement.
I think so. Better. Better? I'd like to feel from all of you breath. I don't feel... On the suspension, you're really holding your breath. Yes? And I don't feel that, and it gives it a different quality if you will do that.
Weidman was one of the major figures of the modern dance revolution of the 1920s and 30s. With his partner Doris Humphrey, he found a new way of dancing based on natural movement, which expressed real feelings.
Your legs.
Although best known for his work with Doris Humphrey, Weidman himself was an enormously versatile talent, working independently for 30 years as a performer, teacher, and choreographer. Charles Weidman was born in Lincoln, Nebraska in 1901. His family was high-spirited and somewhat artistic in temperament, if not in practice. His father was a fireman. His mother had been a roller skating champion in the Midwest. Though he left Nebraska at the age of 19, Weidman continued to feel close to his family, paying tribute to them in several of his dances.
Strong. Here I am. Here I am.
The piece, On My Mother's Side, newly reconstructed by Peter Hamilton, is a suite of 6 dance portraits of members of his mother's family. Here, Douglas Nielsen rehearses excerpts from 3 of these portraits: great-grandfather Hoffman, grandmother Hoffman, and Sonny, a self-portrait. Each portrait is introduced by a poem written by William Archibald.
When I go forward. You're going and then going backwards. And shouldn't have that walk.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I think you did that in the studio because I was
So I should go to it.
Yes.
And then around.
Yeah, because it has a lopey feeling now that doesn't.
Great-grandfather Hoffman, pioneer, quietly settled down, Hoffman. Pioneer, settled down. A kind, calm man was Hoffman, pioneer. Kind and calm and dignified, pioneer. He got what he got, he cared little or not. When or what he got was his lot. Dignified, he settled down. Blind old woman, blind old mother, blind with no light in her head, moving about with no light in her head, and her children long since dead. With the love of the fine in her fingers and the curve of her work through her spine, grandmother Hoffman, fine old woman and blind, fine old woman, fine old woman. and from Weidman's portrait of himself. Young Charles entertained thoughts about being an architect, but when he was 15, the Denishon Dance Company performed in Lincoln, and Charles attended a performance.
Well, I was supposed to be an architect. I was very young, age 15, and my study of architecture went into the history of architecture, so much so I became so engrossed in the architecture of Egypt, naturally, and Greece, naturally, and Babylon and everything, that I thought for a while I was going to be a historian or archaeologist or something. But then St. Denis, Ruth St. Denis, came to the Orpheum Theater with this pageant of India, Egypt, and Greece. And here were my histories, my civilizations dancing right in front of me, so that just put two and two together just like that. So I just had to become a dancer.
Weidman joined the Denishon Company 4 years later, in 1920. Ruth St. Denis and her partner, Ted Shawn, were then at the peak of their popularity. They had invented a highly theatrical dance style based on impressionistic interpretations of Oriental dance. Their dances had a new energy that attracted enthusiastic audiences and talented dancers. Along with Charles Weidman, Martha Graham and Doris Humphrey were both members of the company. In 1927, Weidman and Humphrey left Denishon to form a company of their own. They turned away from the exoticism of Denishon to build a dance style that sprang from the American soil.
At Denishon, we did everything. We did Japanese, we did Chinese, we did East Indian, we did Javanese, Siamese, everything. So the first revolt, I call it a revolt against the eases. Because on a tour to the Orient way back about 1926, when we went to Japan, we didn't do the Japanese dances because they could do them so much better than we could, having been trained as little children to do their kind of dance, and besides, they looked more Japanese than we did. So the same thing to each other country. So thought one, which came in our mind, why don't we evolve a form of dance